Okay, so I want to try and make myself a chef's knife. I, believe it or not, do quite a lot of cooking at home, and I love the chef's type knives, the big wide bladed ones. We have got one, but it's not actually that brilliant. And I was browsing through Pinterest the other night, and I came across one that I thought I really liked the look of. So I'm going to have a go at making something very similar. Let's have a look at the one that I saw. Now this is the type of thing, that's the style I like. So I've got myself a rasp and we're going to give it a go. But the thing is, I don't think, looking at the picture there, if I did it with just grinding, I don't think this is wide enough for the blade. So I'm going to get it hot and just thin this little bit out a little bit to increase the width that way. Not massively, but I just think it needs another sort of like quarter of an inch. And then the rest I think I'm going to try and do by grinding and cutting, because I've never done one like that before. So we'll give it a go. So while it's in the fire, we'll anneal it. It'll make the cutting and grinding a little bit easier, I think. I did have people say to me on my forged knife, you know, why didn't you anneal it? Why didn't you anneal it? Well, you don't need to when you're forging it, because it's soft when it's hot. You only need to really anneal it when you want to work on it cold. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So let's get the fire alight and we'll have a go. Right, I'm just going to sort of roughly sketch out the sort of design that I'm after, just so I can see sort of exactly where I'm going to need to swell the belly a little bit. I dare say if I made the knife a little bit smaller, the thickness that it is at the moment would be ample, but I'm being greedy. I want to make a nice big one. I'm going to try and use virtually the whole rasp, so I want to get as much meat out of it as I can. I don't really know what I'm up to, but I'm just sort of sketching out the sort of thing I'm going to be looking for. And that bit there is where I'm going to be wanting to swell it a bit, I think. Just there. So that gives me an idea. Only about 6 inches or so. I think that'd be quite a nice, decent sized knife actually. Quite comfortable, I reckon. So now I know what I want, what I want to do. First of all, I'm going to take the tang off because that's in the way. Then I can get it in my rasp tongs, which I made several years ago when I was doing other projects out of rasps. Make a cut off. Find a decent hammer. That one will do for now. And let's just whip this off. Comes off quite easily. Right, just level that end up a little bit. And that'll do me. That's what I want, so it'll go in there now quite nicely. That'll hold it good and tight. Get rid of that. What else do I want now? I want a different hammer, I think. I want one of my rounding hammers. Which one do I want? That one or that one? That one. It's a slightly heavier one. Doesn't look a lot in it, but one's about, I suppose, 1 3/4 pounds, the other one's about £2, so just that little extra makes quite a bit of difference. Right, just going to start flattening out that 6 inches or so, thinning it out a bit, going up to about halfway up, or half the width I'm working on. I could go higher, but I don't think I need to. You can see it's coming out quite nicely already. Level it back out again. Now, as I said, I wanted to do a sort of basically cut and grind knife. I've blown that out of the water already, but never mind. This is going to be the only bit of forging I think that I will do. The rest of it will be ground. But I think you can see my desire to get the most out of the width. You can see that's just spread it out about, it is about 1/4 of an inch I reckon. That's given me a bit of extra. And it's forged the teeth back into the body. We don't have to grind them off. That's probably the only other bit I will do is might get the rest of it hot and just hammer the teeth back into the material so I don't have to grind them. Yeah, I think you can see there from that how much extra that's gained me. So it's not a lot, but I reckon about 1/4 of an inch. Try and keep it sort of straightish. Might as well keep it fairly good now, since I'm not going to be doing much more hammering on it. I want to get it pretty bang on. I think that will probably do it. Just sort of wondering. Yeah, there you can see it's bellied it out a bit at the bottom. I've got a bit of a lump in it now, but never mind. I'm sure we can get rid of that. That's just what I'm going to do, is just last heat try and get that lump out. That's better. Again, getting it level again. Right. Next bit. What am I going to do next? Oh, actually, I'm going to grind those out, but I think what I might do here is try and forge that over either the beak there or perhaps my anvil stake. I'd quite like to dish that and widen it. I've seen on, again I think it was on Pinterest, I saw a knife where, I think it was a big Bowie knife or something or other, the bit behind just behind the blade had been swelled right out, sort of, it was a real nice bit for your finger to go in. And I think that's how they did it, was just sort of giving it a bit of a bosh in like this, possibly with a wider, or they may even have done it with a sort of like a guillotine tool with a big tool in it, or on, even under a power hammer with a bit of bar. You can see there it's sort of spreading it out, but I don't like it because I can't keep it to one side or both sides. It's coming out one way. Give it a couple of boshes on there. No, not keen on that. Well, I like the principle, but it's not working for me. I think I might end up just banging that back into itself. It's still leaving quite a nice pattern on the smooth side rather than the bastard side. Where it's the teeth have sort of gone up and round. So I don't think, even if I hammer it all back into itself, I think it'll still give a reasonably nice pattern. So just thinking, what am I going to do next? Am I going to use my rounding hammer or go over my anvil stake? I think we're going to try the anvil stake first. The bigger hammer. I guess I could have pulled that top edge out. No, it's not working. Not doing what I want it to do. Well, it is, but it's, as I say, it's going one-sided. So I think that's going to get bashed back into itself. There was me saying I was only going to do one bit of forging on it. That's the thing with my projects, they're all hit and miss. Make it up as I go along. So I never have a plan. I never have a drawing. Well, not for these sort of things. Yeah, let's bash it back into itself. The only thing I have plans for are the jobs where I need to get laser cutting and stuff like that done, where I have to do sort of like CAD plans. The rest of it is I wing it, as most of you will probably know by now. Yeah, you see there's a bit, still a lump there, but it's only one-sided, so I'm going to bash it back in. So it's left quite a nice pattern where the teeth have gone up and round, but it wasn't what I intended. Never mind. I might try and figure out a way of doing that, flaring that piece out, because it gives quite a nice effect on the one I saw on the internet. Right, so how are we getting on now? Let's get her warm again. No, what am I doing now? I don't know what I'm explaining now. Probably that I wanted it wide and it's turned out one-sided, so I've left it narrow. And I have left that shape in there intentionally, with the sort of the handle side bending down, because that will sort of lend itself to the shape of the blade, I think. So what am I doing now? What am I looking for? Bigger hammer, just to get that all pushed back in and try and keep it straight. I think that's near enough. You could have ground that out with you know, the wheel on a belt grinder, or cut it out with a plasma cutter and then ground it up with a wheel on a belt grinder, but I quite like the idea of forging it in. Everyone's got their own idea and own ways of doing things, but that so far is what I've got to do. The handle there, point down there, I'm going to grind all that off. So that, I think, is going to be almost the end of the forging. Not quite, but I want to grind it now to the right shape, and then once I've got the shape I will probably just stick it back in the forge again and flatten out all the teeth, like I said before. So that little bit of a kink in there just lends itself to the handle. So basically I've already got that bit, and then that can just follow down to the point somewhere, and then from the point sort of like back down to there. I'll grind that in, but that's sort of the idea. So this bit still looks like it could have been bigger, but I think I'm just wishful thinking. I will grind that in and that'll look fine, I think. I'm going to cut these bits out with disc cutter. I was thinking about using the plasma cutter, but I think for now we'll just stick with the old cutting disc. Now I don't really want this hanging out of the vise that much because it'll chatter like mad, which is why I'm hanging on to it. But it won't hold very easily on the middle because it's the shape it is now. We'll get there. Take the corners off. See those lovely sparks? You can see how good a steel it is. Good high carbon steel. Oh, there you go, chatter. I can't push down very hard because it's going to push it out the vise, so I have to go steady. I've got that bit. And the handle bit, I'm just going to have to, I think, put lots of little slits in it. Trying to figure out. Probably would have been much better if I just stood it up in the vise. But I was being lazy and trying to let you see exactly what I'm doing from there, but you get the idea. Cut them in and then I'll cut them at an angle, knock them bits out. Oh, more chatter. Oh, good old chatter. Oh, hold on to it, boy. Right, now what am I going to do? Do the other end first, and then we'll take those bits out. Get the point done. That bit. Let's do the other side. Even though this has been annealed, it's still fairly tough stuff. I guess that's just the nature of the material. Nearly there. Got it. Right. So, all I've got to do now is chop those bits out of there. I'm not quite sure. See if it will hold in here. It's not very secure that way, but it might be just enough to let me whip these bits out. Just want to get the worst of them out, and so I can grind the rest. noticed there's quite a few sparks heading towards the camera. I hope I haven't damaged the lens, but I have got a filter over it. If I do, it's not the end of the world. Thinking about investing in a new camera actually, because the batteries on this one keep going flat and I can't seem to get hold of any genuine batteries for this one anymore. I've had it a few years now. I might check out a few of the newer ones. Although this one's done me really well. It's got a fantastic zoom on it. You've seen some of my nature videos where I've zoomed in on animals and things. Anyway, right. So, I'm just going to tidy up the basic shape on this grinder, which could actually do with a new belt on, but again I'm too bloody lazy to change the belts. I'm just going to persevere, try and get the basic shape. Could be some time. Just going to cool it out, it's getting a bit warm. Surprising when you've got a knackered belt how quickly things heat up. It's sort of, I suppose it's more friction than grinding. As I don't really know what shape I'm going to end up with, I know roughly what I'm trying to achieve. Pull it out again, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm sort of checking as I go, really. Right, so I've got the basic shape there, which is okay. And I've just got to grind the handle out, those bits there, which I shall probably do with the good old-fashioned angle grinder with an ordinary wheel on it, which again is nearly knackered. I'll put a new one of them on. I like to get your money's worth out of these things. I wear them down till there's nothing left on them. Obviously sometimes you have to put a new one on because you can't get the blasted thing into where you want to be. Right, let's put this further up so it doesn't chatter. Move you around with us. And get as much out as I can with this. God blimey, I've got a fruit fly in my glass of wine. Little bugger, get out. Right, so, yeah, there you go, I'm virtually down to nothing. But it's got the worst of it done. Let's see if I can use the flat disc for some of it. I don't know if I think I've shown you the little cheat for getting the most out of your flat discs. Because you tend to use the toe of it, that tends to wear out first, and then when you want to use it, you end up just on the plastic or whatever. So what I do is get a rasp, an old rasp, get the bastard side, and grind across it with the very front of the flat disc, and it cuts away the first sort of quarter of an inch of worn out plastic, and you're back to quite good fresh stuff. Give it a go. It's there you go. It makes the life of the disc a little bit longer. Just going to cool that out. That's getting hot now. Yeah, quite like that. Quite a comfortable feel. Might need a little bit of alteration, but overall it's the sort of thing I was looking for. Yeah, not bad. Just going to do that radius in there. I'm going to get the die grinder out on that. Just give it a go inside there. I love this die grinder. It's absolutely cracking tool. I used to use an air one, which I thought was good. But once you get a proper powered one, this is quite a powerful one, and it just tears the stuff off. You get good carbide bits, and it really does tear it away, and it doesn't leave a bad finish. I use it all the time now for all sorts of jobs. It's just saved so much time. I'd highly recommend a die grinder. Got to be careful on some things with them though. They can catch up and bend the carbide shaft. Well, it's not the shaft isn't carbide on a lot of these. You can get some solid carbide ones, but these I think are a carbide head brazed to an ordinary shaft, and you can bend them, and then they're pretty much useless. Anyway, that's a bit better. Just tidied that up. Yeah, rather like that. Just give it a little bit more in there. The thing with these things, you can have, you know, drawings and all sorts, but until you actually get it in your hand, you don't know whether it's right. Your hand and your eyes will tell you much more than a drawing can. You just instinctively know when something's right by the feel and the look, and that's not far off. I think I'm gonna, oh, there it goes, on the deck. Good job it's annealed. Right, so I've put it back in the fire, and I've just hammered back in the teeth at the back in the handle piece and along towards the point. Just hammered them down a bit so that there's a little bit less grinding to do. But that's the basic shape so far. I'm really pleased with it, but I'm going to have to call it a day for today, because as usual I've run out of time, so look out for part 2.